Okay, it is now 5:30, and we want to call our city board meeting to session. This is our October 8th, 2024 board meeting. First, we have the invocation and the pledge. May we bow, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you once again, calling on your guidance and your goodness and your wisdom. Help us to make the best decision for everything we do for the people of this community. Never let us forget to give you the honor and the glory which it all belongs. Thank you for the blessings of keeping us safe and sound as we see our neighbors in Florida, and South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia still suffer and lose lives. We keep them in our prayers and we continue to move forward in a positive and good way, always operating in your will and not our own. And for the kingdom of heaven, we glorify your name. Thank you for your goodness, your mercy, and your amazing grace in each and every day, and the blessings upon this community. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Let me stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, participating in the process. We see a lot of times that we try to be prudent of our time and what we must do in order to take care of the business of the city of Brownsville. Well, once again, we embark on that tonight. So first thing I want to do is change the order of what we have on our agenda for tonight before we get into our minutes, ordinance, and resolutions. We want to do a letter of commendation. Could also Serena Debo, Chief Evans, Chief Haynes, could you come forward, please? And the rest of your police officers, your fellow police officers, y'all come forward too. We stand together. Y'all come on. Yeah. Y'all can just stand across the front of sit in the front row. Yeah, so we're gonna block me. There you go. Follow me. Jones. All right. So tonight we have a special opportunity. I know some of you were aware of the situations with the services that the Brownsville Police Department offers. We often hear about complaints, but tonight we talk about a victory, something that's very special. Chief Evans, you want to explain to the reason for this accommodation?
I'll tell you what, we'll let her supervisor, since I was not there, I was in the bed sleep when all this went down. Okay, well,
Wait.
so what happened after a call over in Oak Haven, and apparently the lady was in labor, and guess what, who delivered the baby? So, something I couldn't do, I got caught in a situation like that before and almost hit the ground. We proud of it.
All right, so tonight, let's give her a round of applause. This is the letter that will go into our personnel files of permanent record. I would like to commend Patrolman Serena Debo for exceptional actions while on duty during a recent emergency situation. On Friday, September the 13th, Patrolman Debo was dispatched to 1004 Oak Haven Apartments for a medical emergency. When Patrolman Debo arrived on the scene, she made contact with a woman in active labor. Patrolman Debo knew to deliver the baby was imminent based on her training as an experienced EMT. All right. Patrolman Debo remained calm and focused while in this unexpected critical situation. Her training, quick thinking response to help deliver this baby are commendable and reflect the highest standard of our department. Patrolman Debo's ability to provide necessary support and guidance not only ensures the safety of both the mother and the child, but is exemplified in the dedication of professionalism we strive in our agency. Patrolman Debo's actions have not gone unnoticed. I believe that it is important to recognize such exemplary behavior as it serves as inspiration to our fellow officers and reinforce their vital role you play in our community. Thank you for your outstanding service and commitment to the Brownsville Police Department and the citizens of Brownsville, Tennessee. Sincerely, Chief Kevin Evans.
All right.
Let me jump in. And also, because we have something else we want to do too. Officer Debo, do you have something you want to say?
It was quite an honor to do that, and after the winter that I had, I needed that, it was a comfortable time. But I also think that it took a small little army, it wasn't just me, it was our dispatchers. It was my fellow officers and Haywood County EMS that assisted with all of it, so it's a group effort. And I'm very thankful to be a part of it.
That's right.
I'm hungry. But sometimes we have to hug on each other, okay? We love each other, we care about each other, we in the trenches together. It's not always easy. Thank you for what you did, and thank you for your continued service to the city of Brownsville and the citizens of Brownsville. I thank each and every one of you. It's not always easy, I know. But thank you, you got this one right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Also tonight, the police department has something else that they want to present. Miss Carolyn Flagg. I'm not gonna read the letter, but on behalf of the Brownsville Police Department, a letter of appreciation goes out for your work with the National Night Out and the tireless work that you continue to do for everybody in this community. And happy birthday. Let's give Miss Flagg, Miss Flagg. You wanna come up, and get the picture real quick? I'll let y'all know. Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda, we have the approval of our minutes from our last meeting. At this time, I'd like to entertain any questions concerning from the alderman concerning approval of the minutes from our regular September 10th meeting. Hearing none, we'll call for the motion. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from September 10th?
Motion to approve.
Been moved and properly second. Any questions, corrections, concerns? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay, minutes approved. We have several ordinances on the agenda tonight. We'll move through them very briefly. Mr. Shelton Mail, our planner here. On the second, we just have 3 on the first reading, 1 on the second reading. We also we have to open up for a public hearing concerning this particular ordinance. Ordinances are laws of the city, resolutions or guidelines. Mr. Mayor, ordinance number 1076, correct?
Are we ready, man?
Yes, sir.
We ready? Well, this first ordinance 1026, it pertains to the amending chapter 12. It's the initiation for amendment. And basically, sections 1 and 2 and 3 are just changing this typos of grammatical errors that we found in the ordinance itself. The main gist of this ordinance, what we're trying to accomplish is section 4. And it basically is the chapter 12, administration, enforcement, legal status, section 12.07, amendments, letter E, grounds for an amendment, be amended to include a new number 5, excuse me. And basically all this is, and I'm gonna do this as simple as I possibly can. If a property is rezoned under the precepts of just a simple concept plan, and there has not been a subdivision plat or a preliminary subdivision plat or preliminary development plan submitted within a period of 6 months, then the planning staff should be directed to draft an amendment ordinance basically rezoning the property back to its original zoning designation. And if the property was annexed, and, you know, the same has not been, addressed, like, if it's annexed under the guise of a concept plan or something like that, and a preliminary plan has not, or plan has been submitted within a period of 6 months, then the property, the planning staff should draft an ordinance that would amend the zoning map, rezoning the property back, well, rezoning the property to low density residential.
R1.
R1,
Okay.
right, and that's just for protection measures, especially given what the property is surrounded by. And in the second portion of this ordinance is basically, is if a preliminary subdivision plan or plan has been approved by the planning commission, but yet the property hasn't been developed or improved, which is basically the inclusion of any kind of groundwork, any kind of utilities being delivered, anything like that, or any structures being erected on it. If it hasn't been done within a period of 3 years, then we should draft an amendment, basically rezoning the property back to what it was. And if it was annexed and it obtained all that, and a preliminary plat and subdivision plat was approved and all that, but yet the property still hadn't been developed within 3 years, then the property will revert back revert to R1, low density residential. And this is just simply when we have the proposed developments that are proposing mixed use or any kind of zoning type that we annex or that we have rezoned in order for that to take place. And there's an idle period where there hasn't been any development and it's just stagnant. We thought that this would be a good protective measure for the city to adopt in order to ensure the completion of the work in a timely fashion.
Okay.
Any other questions?
This here received favorable recommendation from the planning commission and did pass the city council on the first reading. Is that correct, Mr. Miller?
That's correct. That's correct. I know what you mean. I've been called everything.
Okay, so with that being in order, at this time, we close out our session and go into a public hearing. As it required with all second readings on the ordinances. At this time, are there any questions or comments from the community, from the public? Okay, hearing none, we'll close our public hearing, go back into session. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 1026 on the second reading. Do I hear a motion? Motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly motion and properly second. Are there any questions, concerns, or corrections?
Hey, just one, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Are there any tax implications on that? The tax rates are different, obviously, for agricultural land, R1, R2, and multi.
Well, basically residential is residential, and I think that falls upon the, I think 25% rule, and if it's commercial, it's 40%. So if it's residential in nature and not commercial, if it's coming from, let's say, a mixed use, that predominantly residential and going to R1, there shouldn't be any changes in the tax rates, in the tax.
And the 3 years we give them is sufficient time to move it back. So for instance, most of that land, I think we talk about is coming out of agriculture.
Right.
So within 3 years, it goes back. If there's no development, no nothing in 3 years, it goes back to the original.
Well, this is for any development, not just the property that I think that you alluded to. This is for any property, and if it's agriculture, it will revert back to. Since we've annexed it, if it's annexed, it will just go to the lowest density residential that we have, which is the closest that we would have to FAR, which is the designation in the region. And yes, right.
And most of what we annex is FAR.
FAR,
Yeah.
absolutely correct.
Yeah, but when we annex, you typically try to bring it as R1 or mixed use.
We did it right.
So the rate goes, the rate goes up. The tax rate goes up.
Not necessarily,
Correct.
not necessarily, because it's still residential. Forestry, agriculture, residential
Okay.
is still, if I remember
Okay.
correctly, it's still taxed as if it was a residential property.
My question's answered.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments from all? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for vote. All in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay, ordinance number 1026 passed on second reading. Ordinance number 1027, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. Ordinance 1027 proposes to rezone, administratively rezone property that's on State Route 54 and State Route 187 from mixed use and planned residential development to R1, low density residential. And the tax parcel is further described as tax parcel 13 and tax parcel 13.02, respectively owned by the Fincher Family Partnership and Brownsville 184 LLC, Hayward County Tax Map 76. Basically, this is a protective measure that we're doing, that we've been asked by the planning commission to do, to draft. Basically, the property that's located on State Route 54 and 187, since there's been idle in the development at this particular time, they thought that it'd be best if we were to prepare an ordinance that would zone the subject property R1 until something definitive, being a preliminary plat or preliminary development plan being brought in to be approved by the planning commission. But until that time comes, they thought it'd be beneficial if that property was reverted to low density residential as opposed to sitting out of the.
All right, this kind of dovetails right into the ordinance we just passed, but it's specific. At the time, we didn't have that ordinance on the books, we just passed it. Excuse me, I'm trying to get my seat back up. All right, yeah, so we didn't have that ordinance on the books at the time, so this will address that specific property, kind of pretty much in the same vein, and if the property line goes bad.
Right, but it wasn't drafted just because of the property, it just.
Right.
A whole multitude of
Yes,
what
that's
might
right.
come up.
Yes, that's why we have you here. So, any questions, concerns? That's why I'll call for a motion.
And please be, before we answer, I just want to state this for the record, if, we do get any plans in the, developed as mixed use, we have no problem with administratively rezoning back to mixed use and PRD, free of charge. We're just doing this as a protective measure, to protect the built environment in the area, subject area.
Right, administrative reason, okay. As an option, we still want to be developer friendly, but we want to protect us, so that's why we have a full-time planner. To kind of work through to work through these ordinances and because we're experiencing growth and sometimes it can be complicated. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion, we approve ordinance number 1027 on the first reading. Do I hear a motion?
So
So moved, do I hear a second? All right, I move, it's been moved, properly second. Are there any questions, concerns from the audience? Mr. Mayor? Okay. Call for the vote, all those in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay, 1027 passes on the first reading. Mr. Mayor, ordinance number 1028.
Yes, sir. 1028 basically amends chapter 9, administration, enforcement, and legal status of the zoning ordinance. This is going to be in regards to the application fee and the public hearing notice, which would be we'll be amending letter C and letter F. In section 1, in our zoning ordinance as we have, we require $50 of payment for any proposed zoning ordinance or zoning map amendments. But we have, the Youth Council has adopted a schedule of fees that's been in use now for over 2.5 years that calls for said rezonings and zoning map amendments and ordinance amendments to be $500. So all we're doing is to make everything synonymous and the same, so there won't be any contradiction. That's what section 1 clarifies. Section 2, the Tennessee legislature passed an amendment to Tennessee Code Annotated relative to zoning amendments in regards to public hearing notices. So it went from a 15-day notice on zoning amendments to 21 days. And so that old language was still present in the zoning ordinance, and so all we're doing at this particular time is amending that language to be synonymous with Tennessee Code Annotated. And that is prior to any amendment to the zoning ordinance, zoning map, that a 21-day notice be in effect, not 15 days. That's all this ordinance does.
Okay, so just take care of those two housekeeping things. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 1028 on the first reading. Do I hear a motion? Motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved and properly second. Are there any questions or concerns from the audience concerning ordinance number 1028? Okay, here now we'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. You earned your money tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Well, I hope to do it every month.
All right. Orders number 1029, property rezoning, first reading on the Decanter Williams property.
Right, this is another administrative rezoning where, Mr. Decanter owns property on Boyd Avenue that's between the railroad tracks and the properties that front on said Boyd Avenue. Some people have referred to it as Poplar Corner Road. But essentially what's there is you have houses that front along Boyd Avenue. And in the rear of those properties is zoned general industrial. The properties themselves are medium density residential, with the exception of tax parcel 30.01 owned by Ms. Alec L. Williams. That property is on both R2 and GI. And the portion of her property, that will be the western portion of the subject property, a good portion of it is zoned general industrial because it has frontage along the railroad spur. So we thought it best, the people that they wanted to acquire the property behind them. And so they did a subdivision plat. Mr. Decanter appropriated that property to be divided up or divided up, and given to those particular property owners along Boyd Avenue. Well, that opened up the door and opportunity to have dual zoning, and we didn't want to do that, go that route, where properties will be zoned both R2 and general industrial. So what we want to do, it makes sense. We didn't want nobody coming up with any chemical labs in their backyard and blowing up the neighbors and stuff. So what we decided, y'all can laugh, that was hilarious. So what we decided to do is make everything the same, and the planning commission recommended a plan amendment to allow for this, by recommending to you all to rezone, tax parcels 30.01 and, tax parcel 29.01, all to be contiguous with the, R2 medium density residential zone. And, that's, the plan calls for it to be an employment center. And, we just think that, common sense wise, that, the people in that particular area need to be protected, from that encumbrance. And so, we just thought it'd be best to go ahead and amend that plan, since that's what they asked for, to make sure those properties are all in one zone.
Okay, and this deal for you to receive a favorable recommendation from the planning commission.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're looking at ordinances of basic property protection, rezone this medium distance to the general commercial, industrial. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve orders number 1029 on the first reading. Do I hear a motion? Motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Are there any questions, concerns on orders number 1029?
Hey, was this, Mr. Morrow, was this, requested by the owner?
No, sir. No, we originally thought that he had already, back 5 or 6 years ago, had asked for that particular rezoning. We couldn't find our ordinance, relative to that. So basically, when we told him what the situation was, he was in agreement that the property was best suited for medium density residential, because, that's why the people wanted to buy the property from him. They had houses in front of them. They didn't want anything industrial behind them. Yes.
Hey, and just one other question. I know this is not the place for a study session, but just real briefly, the difference between low density and medium density.
Well, low density calls for minimum lot area to be 15,000 square feet, and medium density in the zoning ordinance, I think, is either 10 or 8,000.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And yeah, and this is being rezoned from industrial to medium density.
Right.
Okay. All right, at this time, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor of approving ordinance number 1029, let know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay, ordinance 1029 passes on the first reading. Okay. All right, so that takes care of our plan resolution. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
So now we move forward to the hatchet paving. With a resolution, finally, we got the funding in place, but now we did do a bid opening on the 4th, and these are the results of the bid. On the lowest paying bid was Martin Paving at $470,771. there's a 3 bid package represented for construction, Union City paving. So with the approval of resolution 1068, we accept the lowest bid. We've already, working towards getting a pre-construction meeting of this came through a community development block grant on the amount of $630,000. Of course, there's a match involved with this grant. Last is on, but this is the way which is funded for a grant, and the good news is the construction costs came in under budget. So we're good to go. We're gonna get Hatchet Street paid. So at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve, resolution number 1068. Motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
If it moved and properly second, are there questions, concerns? When can they get started, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pushing it. At this time, all those in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. All right, resolution 1068. Next, we have, resolution number 1069, which is another, grant, it's property conservation grant. Ms. Matthews, you want to tell us what that grant is? I'm looking at it for you. There it is, property conservation grant, all right? This is through Public Entity Partners, and it's a grant for equipment. Technology, right? This is one we added in today. So how much is the total amount of this grant?
The total amount of this grant is $1,235, I believe.
I know it's small. Okay. All right, it's a 50-50 grant, so it's for technology, help out with some technology equipment, through the Public Entity Partners. At this time, I'd like to approve, entertain a motion for approval for resolution number 1069. Do I hear a motion? Motion, do I hear a second? Do I hear a second? I know I had 2 motions. All right, I had,
Yeah, I'll get on with a second.
okay, you got it on second. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion and a second?
Yeah.
All right, are there any other questions or concerns from all?
Well, I want to get it on the floor. So what's
Yes.
the $1,235 gonna be spent on what technology? What are we gonna do with it? Do we have to identify before we got the grant?
Darren, stand up, please, and explain to him what you're gonna spend on.
It's a cybersecurity grant. And what we're doing is we have locations that still, they're small and they're not tied into our network. We're striving to make a one network type of system. We do that through point VPN on a specific router. So what this does is not only give us enough router to get the last 2 or 3 locations. To dial in, it also does some 5 years worth of off-site backup on the Brownsville Police Department server, which is it's encrypted backup. And like I said, that's for 5 years. But it also gives us some routers. What we run into, we get something we like that does all our job, and then it's replaced by something newer. It's a bit different, so this gives us enough to store about 6 on the shelf, so we have hot spots as well.
Thank you, Mr. Byrd.
We got it on the motion on the floor. Any other questions, concerns from all? Okay. Hearing none, I'd like to entertain a motion. I'd like to call for approval of resolution number 1070. All in favor, let it know by sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm glad. 1069, my apologies. My apologies, 1069. Now we're moving to our tourism grant. Don't forget myself. Now we're to, resolution number. You've been hiding them all the time.
No, they've been sitting right there in front of me. I know we need them.
I was about to borrow yours.
Yeah, I need them back.
Look, I did all of it with no glasses. So.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Yep.
All right, so, resolution number 1070, okay, now I can see. So resolution number 1070 is the City of Brownsville accept the State Department of Tourism Marketing Grant. We've gotten this grant before. It's an amount of $12,740. Our match is $2,548. And this is for 12 months, this helps visit Brownsville 10, in terms of marketing. Anything I missed, Simon? Okay, all right, so, this is something that helps out with our marketing, in terms of budget for our tourism. All right, at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve, resolution 1070. Do I hear a motion? Do I hear a motion? Do I hear a second? It's been moved and properly second. Any questions, concerns from all? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for vote. All in favor, let it know by sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay. All right, so then now we have two appointments on the historic zoning, library board, and a couple of roadblocks. Go to care, Officer Depot. All right, so first up we have is a historic zoning appointments. There are a couple vacancies on the board. We have, recommendations of Ms. Casey Brown and Ms. Mary Jane Williams.
Berry,
Is that correct?
Casey Berry.
Casey Berry.
Yeah.
Look, I can see this.
That's right.
Mr.
Yeah,
Brown.
Sorry.
Okay, all right, Casey Berry, all right. I can see you had the wrong one. All right, so we have Casey Berry, I can see now on the resume. Casey Berry and Ms. Mary Jane Williams. Both of them have submitted that said they want to be a part of the historic zone. We have a little background information on both of them. And it's been recommended from these are recommendations that come before tonight for approval. So at this time, I'd like to, call for a motion to approve the appointments to the historic zone, Ms. Casey Berry and Ms. Mary Jane Williams.
So moved.
So moved, go ahead, second.
Second.
And we move by the second. Any questions, concern from all? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor, let us know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. All right. Okay. Library board appointment. Bishop, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
For sure. Yeah, this is appointment, city's appointment to the library board, Jan McAdams, who has served on the library board before. Y'all might know is the person who comes around, who cleans up, picks up trash around town quite a bit. Wife of Jim McAdams. She's also served on the regional library board and is a qualified, or was in her previous life, a qualified librarian. So
Okay.
I would definitely recommend, and make a motion to appoint Jan Adams to the library board.
It's been moved. Do I hear a second? Been moved, probably second. Any questions, concerns from the board? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay. Next, we have a roadblock permits from the First United Methodist Church.
Yeah, Mayor, if you don't mind, so, on October the 30th, the fall carnival will be going on at the First United Methodist Church. And traditionally, you know, we've asked to block off, if you go up Church Street, by where the old Sonic is, you get to the top of the hill, there's a stop sign, that's Franklin. But we block it off from Franklin to College so that the kids can go from the church to the gymnasium and that parking lot where they'll have activities and stuff. And the police, fire department usually participate. They bring a truck and car out and we do trick or trunk, stuff like that. So I ask that it be closed off from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. on October the 30th.
Okay. Any questions, concerns from all? Hearing none, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the roadblock permit. Do I hear a motion? Motion, do I hear a second? Been moved second. Any questions, concerns? Hearing none, we'll call for all in favor, let it know by the sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Roadblock permit is approved. Well, thank you. Next, we have an insurance certificate as part of that. Next, we have a roadblock request from the 15th Review Club. Judge Jenny Scott.
This is our 19th, Marlin Gotti Memorial 5K race. So we've been doing it 19 years and we block off from Grand in front of College Hill. It goes to Grand and then left on Key Corner, all the way to Key Corner to Thomas, then up Hart, and then back to Key Corner, then Key Corner to the Presbyterian Church, and then back up College to College Hill. And we use the money to fund, we give a certain amount to St. Jude and then everything else is put back into the community, like to Boys and Girls Club, to CASA, the Backpack Club, the Senior Citizen Center. I think we give about $8,000 of what we get back into the community each year.
Okay.
And we have insurance. I think it's attached to my application as well. It's through Golden Circle.
All right, at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the roadblock permit for the 15th Review Club. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear it's been moved? Do I hear a second? It's been moved, probably second. This time, the question concern. Hearing none, I call for vote, all those in favor, let it know by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. All right,
Thank you.
and, thank you, Jenny, but also, in our announcements, tell us about what's going on Thursday.
So Thursday, the tenth, they are naming Highway 222 after, might add, the former county mayor Franklin Smith. It's the part of the highway that goes in front of what's now Blue Oval City. It's gonna be at the TCAT Center that is, Blue Oval City's TCAT, right there on that road, and it starts at 3. There's gonna be, Paige Wally's gonna be there, and he's speaking. I think there's gonna be a state representative there, and then the local mayors, including the Fayette County mayor, possibly the Tucson County mayor, and then Hayward County mayor, and I think Mayor Rolls is on the list to speak and just kind of give the brief history of it, but they're naming it after that, Thursday at 3.
That's awesome, let's get that around. Franklin's work speaks for itself, but I think this is very
I like
important.
to think that the mega site made him cuss more than I did.
He's just many before.
Yeah, this is a lot, you do a lot of cussing. All right, our community development report, Ms. Kristen, ma'am.
Do we have any questions regarding the community development report? I do have a couple of updates, of course. As the mayor spoke about Hampton Street, we finally got the bid for the paving. With our home grant, it is in the environmental review stage. We have the top 3 houses that is in about environmental review stage. One might be questionable because it's in a floodplain. So they might have questions back from that.
Okay.
Also, with multimodal, it looks like it's probably gonna be next year. TDOT has been going back and forth about utilities, and Mayor Ross will elaborate more on that.
Yeah, and that's, when you say multimodal, you're talking about Mercer Road.
Commercial road.
Okay, any,
Well, just comment, it's exciting news that Hatchie's moving off off this list. And we still have, obviously, Anderson Avenue on the list, and we have, Mercer Road. But I'd like to get the next 1 or 2 projects on that list and start planning ahead as long as it takes, to do the NEPA and to do all the environmental work. And I know we had a list at one time, but, it's just the thought that, I'd like to have some input probably on what goes on that list. It's coming up next for a major paving project.
okay. You were about to make another comment, Ms. Yeah, so we teased that we know Hatchet was the worst, and Anderson, we put them all in CDOT and environment, you know the
Yeah,
deal.
totally agree.
But we did see some retraction, those projects in there have been calling and, trying to do something, but we had the governor's rural task force, rural development, and we're on the Dredge County, so I had a chance to sit down in front of Bill Eli and the governor and ask them, could they flag these projects? And we, I was very specific, and we've seen some movement on them. So we had the bid opening on October 4th, and now we have a pre-construction meeting for Hatchie on October 16th at 11 a.m. So with the pre-construction meeting, then we're moving right ahead, and utilizing that funding for Hatchie. And then I'm hot on the tails, we're right there with Anderson as well. So, yeah, and then multimodal, that's been a struggle. But we'll keep pushing. We're not gonna give up.
Well, I got some recommendations if we need to add some more to the list. Key Corner,
Okay.
Macklemore, Meadow Street, and, all that on Country Lane, out there too, so.
Yeah, so what we're talking before, we had some lists involved, but we knew we had priorities with these particular projects. It's just taking a lot longer than I'd like to see it. So, yeah, we'll move forward. And we continue, thank you, Public Works, they continue to, patch the potholes as best as they can when we report them. So, but some of these streets need paving, so we're moving forward. All trying to get better. Okay, that takes care of our community development report. Now we got the financial management report from Jerry back.
Any questions concerning the, revenue and expenditures? For the month of September?
You have any updates and highlights and things?
The only other thing I have is a budget amendment Well, I would like to add the grants that were approved in our current budget.
Okay. And the total amount of the budget is $13,355, is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, 12,740 in the tourism grant, and then $615 in the park conservation grant.
Correct.
Okay. All right. All right, so let's take it in two different motions. First, I'd like to entertain a motion that we approve the financial manager's report.
Move to approve.
Do I hear a second? All right, been moved and probably second. Are there any questions or concerns about the report? Hearing none, let's call for the vote. All in favor, let it know by sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Next, we have the community development, and then these are budget amendments for this particular, for these grants. Are there any questions, concerns? If not, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the budget amendments as presented. Do I hear a motion? Motion, do I hear a second? Second. All right, are there any questions or concerns? Okay, hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor, let it know by sign of aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay. That takes care of both of, okay, next we have the mayor's report. I'll be very brief. National Night Out, we can't say about, thank you, Ms. Flagg, again. One of the most outstanding events, we had to move locations to work around the weather, but everybody came out and it was an amazing night. We all know about National Night Out. It was a success once again. Thank you, Ms. Flagg. Hispanic Heritage Month, we had a celebration at the AMP. Hispanic Heritage Month is from September 15th through October 15th. We had the same performer to come back and to explain and perform. And the weather cooperated, the crowd picked up as the day went on, and it was a good recognition. Appreciate everybody that helped make that work. Proclamation for Domestic Violence Month, that was done in one safe place. You see the staff there from RAP and some people we knew, some we met knew, but it was a recognition of a problem we have in our community that we're trying to address. And I appreciate the people at RAP and all the people that go into the staff at one safe place and making that a safe place for Family Justice Center. We did a breast cancer awareness walk. It's 5K, over 100 people signed up. You see the top right picture. See the crowd, those at the bottom right picture is the City of Brownsville employees, just most of them. And of course, Mara Coven is there, and Officer Peoples, and Mr. Rosales, and it was just a good for a couple of firemen. So it was a good morning. It was quick, it's efficient, and we recognize survivors, as you see in the picture there, because that's what it's about. And I think later in the announcement we'll have Ms. Flagg doing cancer survivors luncheon as well. So breast cancer awareness month. We don't want to forget about those who survived and those who lost their fight. The recognition of Tina Turner Day. Sonia's here, and it was raining. We had those bands of rain, but we had some loyal fans that still came through. And Sonia liked it, but she said, I get to talk to these people, know these people, and engage them. So we announced about the Tina Turner statue for our fan base and let them know that we wanted them involved. We asked for questions and input from the base. Those are loyal people. But I also got to do something that I thought was very, very appropriate. In the picture you see, I presented Sonia with one of our challenge coins. I don't get those out every day, but those who have met the challenge stand up and, Sonia doesn't like surprises, and she doesn't like recognition, and she always stays humble. She's steady on the wheel. The tourism has brought us multi-million dollars into our community. And I just want to take that moment in front of the people that have been working with Sonia for the last 10 years, 12, 10 with the school, to recognize Tina Turner. So we're going to do it in a big way. With the statue, we'll give people opportunity to donate on an individual level, on a corporate level, and of course we commission that statue. So, but I just want to say thank you to Sonia. It was spontaneous and completely caught off guard with the fan base. We appreciate you, Sonia. Thank you for what you did.
Thank you.
And then one of the visitors, this is Nick, he's from the Netherlands. So how many different countries represented?
We had 13 states and 3 countries.
And 3 countries. And he just had to come off the bus, and I was walking out. He said, "Man, you're the mayor." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Well, thank you. This is really great. We're true fans." They took the bus tour, and they were excited about the statue. They said the placement of the statue is in the perfect place. And I needed their confirmation. We want to make sure fans okay because they're loyal. So that was Nick. He took the time to come over and say thank you. Bicentennial Day, we'll be doing a proclamation signing here in celebration of the bicentennial of the City of Brownsville on Tuesday, October the 15th. at 10 a.m. right here. So we just have a quick ceremonial proclamation signing, on the 15th at 10 a.m. Then, of course, I alluded to the Cancer Survivors Luncheon. This flag is right, National Night Out. We ain't had a chance to report it yet. She's already playing the next event. So Friday, October the 25th, 11:30 a.m. at the National Guard Armory, 221 Morgan Street. We'll have a survivors luncheon. This flag has worked out all the details. I'll have to tell you about that more. Then on Tuesday, October the 29th, we have another community dinner. We did this once before. We're asking people to invite people in this room, come out. We'll be right with Brownsville Family Restaurant on October 29th. I asked all my department heads to be there, so we can kind of have some exchange, conversations, specifics about what people are concerned about, and maybe make a couple announcements about what we're going to do moving forward. So, everybody that comes to the city council meeting, but it's another opportunity to engage the community. So we're trying to do those, set them up at least 2 or 3 times, maybe once a quarter. I went to the legislative update with Representative Johnny Shaw. Of course, attended the NAACP Bank Group, which was a stellar event. I commend the community connected meeting community facilities. I know there's been some concerns about this. We are super excited about this opportunity. A lot of people say, oh, we just, tear down the WW. No. We received a grant. We were approved for $1.9 million for this connected community facility, and we're in the design phase. We're waiting on your contract. And we're gonna use the grant money to do it, and we'll use some community development to stay away from the tax base in general. So this will be a center that's in the design phase. Once we get further down the road, the concepts, the vision. I was telling my leadership team this morning, a lot of times I get in the middle of this stuff, I'm like, why am I doing this? It'd be a lot easier to just sit in my office and just go along with what we have. But I know what we could get is better. So this is a grant opportunity that came to us. We're gonna improve, move forward capacity. This may be the first of this nature, but it won't be the last. There's one being done in Stanton, on a different scale, with the old, historic building, that old schoolhouse. And we'll offer those services. So we want to have a place where we have workshops and training, and resources. So we're gonna make it right. We're gonna do it in a good way, that's sustainable, that meets the capacity of the future. So just stay tuned, more to come with that. And of course, if you talk about the Hatch Street pre-con meeting, so it's going to be on October 16th at 11 a.m. here. That's all I have. Oh, and most importantly, happy birthday to Miss Flag. Let's give her another round of applause. Happy birthday. How old is Miss Flag? 85 years old. 85 years old. That's a beautiful picture. And you just do so much work in the community. And every time we have a chance to say thank you, I think it's
I
appropriate.
appreciate that.
And
My sister said she doesn't understand why I tell my age. I'm gonna tell you all why. A lot of people don't get to be 85. I woke up yesterday morning, and I woke up, I said, thank God I made 85. And I was happy all day long because I've had some health problems, but they don't hold me back. I keep on going, so I plan to be like y'all a little bit longer, but I'm really happy to have 25 years old.
well, we're happy for you. Happy birthday, Miss Flag.